Dimple Chaninoff, and welcome to Sure Things. Today we are fortunate to hear about an organization that's not only local, national, but now I hear international. Today I'd like to welcome our guest, Jane Butterworth. Hi, Jane.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank
You're
you.
here to talk about an organization called Lasagna Love.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, we're very happy to have you and to hear about this organization. I know we chatted beforehand, and I mentioned that I've been trying to get somebody on here because a lot of folks don't know about this organization. And I was lucky to stumble across it. It might have been on, like you said, Facebook, or it might have been through the news, but I stumbled upon it and joined myself and then was anxious to spread it. So I'd like you to tell us a bit about the background that you're getting involved in the organization and a bit about the organization itself.
Sure.
Lasagna Love.
So I stumbled upon it as well about a month ago.
Yeah.
On People of Westbrook, I believe. There was a post on People of Westbrook on Facebook by the regional leader. So it is, like you mentioned, a national organization, and at the end of October they announced that they're now in Canada and Australia, which is fantastic. It's all volunteers. It was founded by a woman during the pandemic.
Oh, it was? I didn't realize it was that recent.
Yeah, 2020.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
so she was looking for a way to do something to help her neighbors. You know, as we're all stuck inside and no place to go, and so she started making lasagnas and taking them to people that she knew. And from there, it just sounds like it just expanded from there. And now it is in every single state in the country. And like I said, also in Canada and Australia recently as well. And it's all volunteer chefs. So like I said, I stumbled across it about a month ago. I signed up to be a chef because I love to cook.
Okay, so you had that passion behind you. It's interesting. I think I went at it more of I wanted to help people. I don't think anybody would say I'm a chef at all, but that's okay. I try my best. But it's interesting that you brought your passion for cooking to it.
Yeah, I mean, I love to cook, and what better way than to give back to someone who needs a hot meal.
How does someone qualify? I don't think it's a qualification, but how does someone get involved in that, into that organization so that they can receive a lasagna?
Yeah, so part of the struggle, and I did meet with our regional leader a few weeks ago, is getting outreach in this area. There's not a lot of demand in this area, and I think it's just because people don't know.
Right.
I don't think it's a lack of demand. But it's very targeted outreach because they don't want to just stick a flyer up in the local Cumberland Farms, because they don't want people to think it's a food delivery service. It's really meant to be targeted to people in need. So I've been helping her in this area. The First Congregational Church here in town now has a blessing box, and there are cards in there.
Okay.
And on those cards are instructions as to how to request a lasagna. I've also given cards to the senior center here in town, Westbrook Youth and Family Services as well. So we're trying to just kind of expand that outreach in this area so people know what it is and how they can go about getting it.
I think that's very needed in the area. As I said, I got involved, and when I tell people about it, they really don't have an idea. I had the woman from Bare Necessities on too, and I also shared that information with her so she could also use that as she gives out the diapers for those in need.
Absolutely.
So I think it sounds like a very needed area, getting the information out.
Absolutely, yeah. Because people, it is new and people don't know about it, so.
Right, and you've said you've just started, so you just had the one experience, and how did that go?
That went really well. I was matched my second week after joining up, and just to back up a little bit, I've mentioned it to other friends of mine. And they're like, oh, that's a big commitment, but it's really not, because you can choose to do it once a month, once a week, every other week. If you need to step back, there's a way to go on as a volunteer and just put a pause on your volunteer status for a little while if you're on vacation or whatever. So it's really whatever you can give to it. There's no commitment that every week you've got to make 5 lasagnas.
Right.
So it's really what you can do. So I got my match, and it's all confidential. So I reached out. You reach out to your match. They give you the information to contact them. You contact them and you let them know that you've been matched, and when they would like the lasagna. Do they want it delivered hot or cold? That kind of thing. And you arrange to deliver it to them. It's all contact free because of COVID. So I delivered the lasagna and I left it on her front porch, and then let her know that it was there.
Yeah, yeah. It's been, I've only done it twice. Again, and as you said, it's really up to you, your time commitment.
Right.
I think when I had originally signed up, I said once a week, but it just hasn't been, people aren't aware of it.
Right.
So I have only had the 2 matches in the area. But it has been amazing with the ease of using it, getting the contact information. And then I was also very impressed that the organization would also follow back up with me and say, did you schedule, did you deliver,
Right.
Any problems? So I love the way they're so detail oriented to make sure that it's all going as it should with that
Exactly.
support.
Right, and they've also, there's a lot of Facebook groups, so there's a national or a global, that now they've changed it global, Facebook group. There's a Connecticut Facebook group for Lasagna Love. So as a chef, you can join either of those groups. And there's, folks exchange recipes sometimes. They'll ask questions,
Yes.
Maybe somebody needs gluten-free, so there'll be questions about that. So, we do try to accommodate any dietary restrictions as well.
I saw a recent posting, and it might have even been today on one of the Facebook pages, and it was someone who was going to prepare lasagna for 16.
Oh, I
Did
saw
you see that, right?
Yes.
And she was reaching out to say, any ideas? And I think that's a wonderful community support
Absolutely.
within the organization. And I think it's also the way they have it, where they provide you as chefs or volunteers the information on food handling,
Right.
and ideas on recipes. So it's very organized that way as well. Do you know, as far as your area goes, when somebody volunteers, what area? Do you know the range of area that they might be delivering to?
So that's part of when you sign up.
Okay.
You sign up, you say how often you want to do it, but you also give a radius from where you live, how many miles you're willing to drive. And there's a whole algorithm behind it, so that when a request comes in, they match it up against, who's a possible match in that area. And I do know from talking to our regional leader that there are times that they'll that it'll spit out a match, and sometimes they'll make adjustments to that because maybe they know that person was just finished a large order perhaps or something, and if there's multiple matches, then they might opt to give it to another person
might
that's
do
also
that.
a match.
Yeah. Did I see something posted? I think it was a while ago, that the question came up: does it have to be lasagna?
Yeah, and it's interesting because from everything that I've read and from that's come from the management team, if you will, that's the only commitment that they're saying that they will provide to the people making the request is it's a lasagna. It's up to the chef if they want to do something different in talking to their match. But Lasagna Love only commits to lasagna.
The lasagna. And it's interesting, you probably felt the same way I did when you get matched and you get some feedback, for instance, if there's young children, it's part of a family. And I know other chefs have done this as well. You can't help but add to that. So it's going to be the loaf of bread and the cupcakes for the children, and it's just such a wonderful feeling to do that.
Absolutely.
For everyone. And again, I'm surprised that they only started during the pandemic. Yet I've seen it advertised on some of the local news shows. I've seen it, and it must be, as you said, national. So they must be known all around.
The founder has been interviewed on the Today Show as well as Good Morning America. And they've also recently gotten some corporate sponsorship, if you will, donations in kind, things of that nature, from some large organizations. So, they're always looking for that as well.
Right, I noticed, and I know we're going to look at their website after the break, but I did notice that they had a section for sponsors there. Now, so I'm curious about your background. You said you like to cook when you do your lasagnas. Do you ask, I know you've had the one experience, would you ask them ahead of time if they have a preference for dietary need or desire when you make the lasagnas?
Yeah, so when I contacted her, I just asked if there were any dietary restrictions, any
right.
gluten-free or anything like that, or dairy allergies because of the cheese or whatever. And there wasn't. It was just a single mom and her child, so it was nice to be able to help them.
That's wonderful, the thought that they're going to benefit from that, and it's a warm meal. And And as I said, I've talked to my friends and neighbors about that, because I know there are people out there that could benefit from
Absolutely.
that. You know, after maybe they've gone through a hard time or health issues.
Right.
And they could really benefit from that. It's interesting, and maybe you found this too. I found that now I start doing some stockpiling of things I might need. Have you found that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm Italian, so I've always got, you know, there's lasagna noodles always in my cupboard.
Okay.
So.
Right, I've noticed that even with my pans and stuff. I make sure I have everything ready just in case. And the other part that's very good, I think, for volunteers or for the chefs is that it's a weekly update, whether you get matched or not.
Correct, yes, you get contacted every week, because I just got my email this week saying, sorry, you know, there's no match for you this week, but continue to do outreach or things of that nature, or feel free to, you know, bring a lasagna to a friend or a neighbor or that kind of thing.
I think that it does help continue that community when they give you the suggestions.
Right.
You know, maybe you could think of this. Do you know where the founder was from? I mean,
you know, in all of everything I found here, I don't know that I found anything that said what state she was in.
No.
But I do think I want to say that it is out west, perhaps.
Do you have any numbers? Do you know, like, I wondered if you had anything about how many members or?
So there's over 20,000 chefs.
20,000
Over 20,000. And there are, on average, 3,500 to 4,000 lasagnas delivered every week across the country.
Across the country, and that's just by somebody reaching out saying, I could use this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're doing it through the church. And then we're talking about some of the other organizations, and I'm wondering, you know, maybe people will have ideas too of other outreach we can do. The senior center sounds like a good one as well. But I wonder if there'll be other ideas that people have on ways to reach out and make this more well known.
Yeah, and I know in talking with our regional leader, I mean, she was nice enough to share with me a spreadsheet of all the organizations she's trying to connect with.
Yeah.
And that's when I told her, you know, I will try to connect with the ones in this local area. So I'm also hoping to get the cards to the Shoreline Soup Kitchen so they can stick them in the bags when people pick up their meal at the meal site. They can slide the card right in the bag.
That's a great idea too, that as well. That will be. That's great. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at the website and the other resources they have for Lasagna Love. Be right back. That's great, though. Is there anything that I
ways
missed?
to stop the spread of COVID-19, and information provided will be kept private. But imposters might pretend to be contact tracers to get access to your personal information or money. Real contact tracers will never ask for your social security number or financial information. You'll receive text or emails from contact tracers only if you have opted in. If you don't recognize the tracer's phone number, contact your local health department. To learn more about contact tracing, please visit portal.ct.gov/coronavirus/contact.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide, it provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Hi, welcome back to Sure Things. Today we're here with Jane Butterworth. Hi Jane, welcome back. Talking about, you are a volunteer chef for Lasagna Love, and we're talking about the organization. It's been so interesting that just during break we were talking, and I had asked if you knew about qualifications for someone to receive the lasagna, and you mentioned there really
isn't.
No,
there's no. I mean, there's no questions asked. If someone contacts Lasagna Love to request a lasagna, there's really no questions asked. The only limitation is you can only request once a month.
Once a month, okay. And it looks also as though, I've only done it twice, but my experience has been if I get that match, I'm going to deliver it within that week.
Absolutely,
right.
Yes.
Okay.
They want it delivered very timely.
And then they check on it, which is awesome. I'd love to look at the website now.
Okay.
If we can pull up the website and because there were, okay. So because on the website it was interesting to see that they also talk about some other nonprofits that they help out. as well. So I was looking at some of the organizations that if you shop through that website, through the Lasagna Love website, some of your money goes to some other nonprofits, which is amazing, and helping spread all this, really all the caring around, which is interesting. So I looked at that, especially with the holidays coming up. People have so many things, you know, so much stuff at times. It's
Right.
interesting to go to something like this and be able to, here's the website here, what they have. And they have a store. If you go to the store, they'll show you some of the items they have for sale, but there's also one of them that I thought was interesting that I was kind of hoping we could pull out. But one that's interesting, look at that lasagna. You can donate to it as well, which is amazing. One of the websites talked about, especially for parents to help teach children about giving.
Yes.
You go to the website and you sign up for this type of service, and I believe it's once a month that you get a card, and the card tells you where your donation went to. And it's only $1 a month. But you sit around, and as they explain it on the website, you sit around the dining room table, your dinner table, and you're talking about, with your children, here's where our money went.
Yep.
And it gives a little bit of background. It's all about teaching children about giving. And I just thought, what a great way to tie in the community support and the
Absolutely.
giving aspect of it.
And I've also seen, mostly on the Facebook page, but a lot of chefs that will have their children help them make the lasagnas. There's also been organizations that have signed up to make them. The Girl Scouts
I didn't know
have signed
that.
up to make lasagnas. So people do it as a group activity as well, which is fantastic.
That's a great idea, because I was wondering about some in-person type activities or events to get the word out.
Right.
Which I wondered if that might be something to think about, even if it was a pop-up. Actually, I was just thinking of that, pop-up, pop-ups start coming out with the holiday season, little craft fairs, things like that. But just ways to have a presence and maybe a lasagna, to entice people to ask questions and to think about giving in this way, and just making a lasagna and giving it to someone as a sign of support. I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I did look at that. I saw the video. They had the video on food handling.
Yes.
And do they also have recipes? I wasn't
don't
sure
know
if they
if
have
there's
recipes
recipes.
on here, but
Yeah.
on the Facebook page.
I've seen them a lot on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
I personally, because I grew up in an Italian home, I don't use a recipe to make my lasagna.
Okay.
But there's no qualifications to be a lasagna chef. You just want to have to help.
That's true, and that goes back to my point earlier when I said you did it with your passion for cooking, and I did it just to help people, because I know when I told even my children about it, they're like, "Really, Mom? You're going to make lasagna?
Exactly.
You're going to make lasagna?" But it's okay. I do follow the recipe, and I think they came out okay. I did get back, because I only did it twice, and I did get back from my first person a text after.
Oh, that's
nice.
nice.
Which was nice to
Yep.
get the feedback. Enjoyed the lasagna. It was real good. Things like that. So I'm hoping that also helps build too, because it's nice to, as a chef or volunteer, to get that feedback.
Absolutely, yeah.
When
And
they
they
go
said,
through
don't expect that, because you won't always get,
Right.
anything back. But sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, yeah. When you signed up, did you sign up for what frequency do you remember what you signed
I signed up for every other week. Just
Every other week,
because
okay.
I wanted to see, how much time it would take, how many times I would get matched. So, I may change that as time goes on to
Yeah.
do it more frequently, especially, because they are having such a hard time finding matches in this area.
Yeah, and I think that really does go back to the getting the word out. Yeah, because
Exactly.
we're in Westbrook, and we could have, Clinton or Old Saybrook or whatever in the area, Durham or Deep River. We really are in this area that we could have, if people are aware of that, we could give that support.
Absolutely.
And that range on it. I like the idea of what you said about the organizations doing it, because I think that even, I have a very active neighborhood. I could think of that even as a neighborhood activity,
Absolutely.
a group of people that want to be part of that, to get together for that.
And then, a lot of people too will, maybe make them in those large quantities, or the organizations, then you freeze them until that match occurs.
Oh, I didn't even think of
And
that.
then you've got your lasagna ready.
That's a great idea as well. That's a great idea as well. I have to think about that too. So besides those outreach things that you mentioned, you're gonna, with the cards and for the
soup kitchen.
The soup kitchen, which sounds really great too. I wonder too if anything with food share. They must, in the larger areas like the food share, the warehouse is up in Wallingford, but they have the other areas like New London, and I wonder if they have more of a presence in those areas.
Yeah, I don't think our regional area goes that far. I think it only goes either to Old Saybrook or Old Lyme, but then it goes all the way up to Middletown and out to Wallingford and back down to Madison is as far west.
Oh, does it include Middletown? Or is that
It does include Middletown.
Oh, so that is
it's a
big,
large region.
and since you sat down with our regional director, is this her full-time focus?
No, she has a full-time job.
She has a full-time job.
So she was
okay.
very happy for the help because she can't do it all herself because it is such a large region.
Right, so there's just the one, as far as the hierarchy goes, as far as you know, there's just the one regional person and then we're all just the volunteers.
Correct.
Yeah, well that was nice that you met with her to talk about how to spread it out, because I know I've seen her emails to say, hey, do you have any ideas?
Exactly.
On getting the word out, so I hope this helps with the organization as well. It says too on some of the numbers down here, it does say 50 states with lasagna chefs making and delivering the home cooked, and that delivery part is important for people to know that once they're matched and they have requested this and they get approved, or however that works, that these will come to them.
Exactly.
And
They
be
don't have
left
to do anything. It'll be just left on their front porch
Just
or
left.
wherever they'd like it left.
Right, and the good part too, I thought about the connection, about the information we get, is so many people now, besides phone calls, are just texting, and it's been so easy with my contacts and my connections to just text. I get home from work at 5, could you leave it at 4:30, whatever, and that's been very convenient as well.
Absolutely.
Right. So they also talk about 100,000 lasagnas delivered to the family in need of some extra love, and then 450,000 individual impacted by the kindness of home-cooked meals. So I think this has been amazing to think about.
And
all
all
that
in a
you can
year
do.
and a half. I mean, from March of 2020 till now, and look at the impact it's made, and it just keeps growing.
That is incredible to think about in such a short period of time. And as you said, 20,000 volunteer chefs making lasagnas out there.
Right, and that's just in the United States. I mean,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome
Yeah.
there. And I think, again, when you talk about the social media, besides I mentioned the texting, but those Facebook groups really are very responsive, because I've seen when somebody has the question, like the lady that has the 16 people to cook for, people are very quick to respond and give you
Absolutely.
that support. So I feel like you're never out there on your own.
No, not at all.
Which is wonderful.
And you can always reach out to your regional leader if something comes up. Something comes up last minute and you've been matched. You should reach out to your regional leader so she can reassign that person so that they don't miss out on their lasagna.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. I'm really hoping this will help around our area.
Absolutely.
To get the word out and to make sure. I was tempted to make one and bring one in here today, but I think that would have been way overkill for my skills anyway. But no, this was good. And I just wanted to say again that it does give you ways to get involved on the website, besides your ability to sign up and request a lasagna, which is great.
Exactly. Yeah,
is great.
You go to this website to sign up to be a volunteer or to request a lasagna.
Right, and even just if people want to donate or sponsor, it's great to get that word out there too, that they can be part of it that way.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, I'm really glad that you were able to come in and talk with us today.
No, I'm glad you had me. This is great.
You're going to still pursue this, I see.
Yes.
Right? Yes, you're you're very active in Westbrook anyway, so that's great because you have a far greater outreach than, say, someone who's working maybe in a different town or not getting out of the house, which should help the organization as well.
Right.
Are there other nonprofits that you also contribute to? Is this your main focus right now?
This is my main focus right now. I was a member of the Westbrook Foundation for 10 years, and enjoyed every moment of that because I grew up here. So
you really did give back to the community.
So I know the Spencer family. I mean, I remember Miss Spencer as a teacher. So
oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. We really appreciate that, and your continued work with Westbrook as your treasurer.
Treasurer. Yep.
treasurer as well of the
Yes.
town, which is wonderful. So you're involved and giving back in town as well as regionally, which is wonderful. Yeah. So I want to thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you.
And keep in touch so we know how it's going.
I will.
Okay. And that's going to wrap it up for us today. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback, please send them to me at surethingsct@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care.